The VA is just starting to recover from the PACT Act. Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and in some recent videos I've talked about the growing size of the VA's disability claim backlog and the implications that can have for veterans. Today, what I want to do is bring you up to speed on the status of that backlog as of the end of March 2024 and make some guesses about what that implies for the future. First, a quick reminder that every Monday morning, the VA publishes a whole bunch of data about their current claim status. And they have their own analytics, which, I don't know, they're okay, but you have to stare at it for a while to figure out what's really going on. So I have been trying to put this data into better context so that we can understand what's going on and anticipate what's going to happen. Fair warning, what I would really like to give you is an estimate of how long it's going to take for your claim to process. But unfortunately, the data isn't really what I would need in order to make that estimate. So if you have ideas about how to crack this nut, I am all ears. In the meantime, I'm using three measures which can be derived from the data that is provided. And that is the total volume of claims, the mix of initial and supplemental claims, and the complexity of initial claims. And while there is a massive backlog, I gotta be honest, the trends are starting to look good. The VA has a backlog of just under 1 million claims. The red bar is for claims over 125 days, and the green bar is for claims under 125 days. You'll see that the backlog really ran up right after the PACT Act was signed into law, but that wave seems to have crested. Now, it might take a couple years to get back to like the 2017, 2019 levels, but if you look at the red dotted line, and that's the percentage of claims that are over 125 days, they did a pretty good job of getting that back down after COVID. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we see that same speed of recovery now. One of the reasons I'm hopeful here is because the backlog is made up of more supplemental claims than normal, which makes sense because the PACT Act expanded presumptive conditions. Hopefully, that indicates that the claims that are in the backlog are easier to complete. In fact, that leads us to one of these things about the initial claims. Normally, I assume that initial claims are people who are just transitioning out of the military. But some portion of these initial claims may actually be due to long retired veterans who are just submitting their first claim now. The interesting thing to watch is the complexity of these initial claims. A smaller portion of the initial claims in backlog are simple. That is, they have 7 or fewer issues. Now, I don't know if that's because of the types of claims being submitted, or maybe the VA is prioritizing these simpler claims. But, like I said, the big takeaway here seems to be that the tide has turned. Now, to be honest, it took 4 years to get to this level, so I'm kind of curious to see how fast we can get back down. And now, watch this video to see what a nexus letter is and how it can affect your VA claim.